Fast enough to reach space, not stay there. Such a trip is called suborbital flight. Another high profile suborbital trip is coming up on June 20 when Amazon's Jeff Bezos takes off on the Blue Origin spacecraft. On Sunday, Virgin Group founder Richard Branson and five others undertook a brief trip to the edge of space, taking off on the VSS Unity spaceship from New Mexico and reaching an altitude of 85 km from Earth before returning. Such a trip is called suborbital flight. Another high profile suborbital trip is coming up on June 20 when Amazon's Jeff Bezos takes off on the Blue Origin spacecraft. What's suborbital? When an object travels at a horizontal speed of about 28,000 km per hour or more, it goes into orbit once it is above the atmosphere. Satellites need to reach that threshold speed in order to do orbit Earth. Such a satellite would accelerating forward towards the Earth due to gravity. However, it moves fast enough that the Earth curves out from under it as fast as it falls, giving it a circular path. The Virgin Commonwealth University explains on its website. Any object traveling slower than 28,000 km per hour must eventually return to Earth. However, Branson's spacecraft traveled fast enough as Bezos' will to reach a point far enough to be considered outer space. These are suborbital flights because they will not be traveling fast enough to orbit Earth once they reach the edge of space. Such a trip allows space travelers to experience a few minutes of weightlessness. Branson's flight was first carried off the ground by a large aeroplane to an altitude of around 15 km. From here, the vehicle blasted off the aircraft, achieving a height of 85 km, where it momentarily reached zero vertical velocity. At this altitude, travelers were estimated to experience about 4 minutes of weightlessness. For an analogy, consider a cricket ball thrown into the air. Given that no human hand can give it a speed of 28,000 km per hour, about 8 minutes per second, the ball will fly for in an arc until its entire kinetic energy is swapped with potential energy. At that instant, it will lose its vertical motion momentarily before returning to Earth under the influence of gravity. A suborbital flight is like this cricket ball, but traveling fast enough to reach the edge of space and with enough horizontal velocity to go into orbit. If an object travels at 40,000 km per hour, it will achieve what is known as escape velocity and never return to Earth. Why the budge? With Bronson and Bezos kicking off private space flight, several companies are looking for customers wanting to go to suborbital or even orbital journeys. At Bronson's Virgin Galactic, around 600 people have already paid deposits for tickets that are priced up to $250,000, around 1.86 crore. However, Bezos' Blue Origin, which uses the reusable New Shepard rocket, is yet to announce commercialization plans, according to BBC. There is also excitement among scientists who want to use suborbital flight for microgravity research. Such flights, as per space.com report, would be far less expensive than carrying experiments and people to the International Space Station. Suborbital flights would also be an alternative to parabolic flights in aeroplanes that space agencies currently use to simulate zero gravity. Safety concerns. The Bronson flight comes 7 years after his company's first rocket, called Enterprise, crashed during a test flight, killing one of the pilots on board. The others survived after parachuting out. The current rocket is also not certified by the US Federal Aviation Administration, which is prohibited to do so by law until 2023. According to the New York Times, this is because the government does not want to burden companies like Virgin Atlantic with regulations during their learning period when they can innovate by trying out different designs and procedures. Passengers need to sign informed consent forms similar to the ones before going for skydiving or bungee jumping, the report said. Thank you.